You know, we all think of cats as these mysterious, aloof little creatures, right? They seem so independent, so hard to figure out. But what if I told you that whole mysterious thing is just, well, a big misunderstanding? Today, we're going to crack the feline code. We're going to learn how to finally understand what our cats are trying to tell us.
It's the question every single cat person on the planet asks. When they rub their head on you, is that love, or are they just, claiming you as their property? Are they happy, are they annoyed, or are they just sitting in that sunbeam, quietly plotting to take over the world?
So here's the secret. It's not some kind of mystical cat telepathy. It's way simpler than that. See, our cats are talking to us constantly. They're sending signals all the time. The only problem is, most of us just haven't learned the language yet. So in this explainer, we're going to fix that. Okay, before we get into the nitty-gritty of tails, ears, and all those meows, we have to start with the single most important, number one, golden rule of cat communication. And it is this: context is absolutely everything.
So what does that really mean, context? It means you got to try to see the world through their eyes. Put yourself in their paws, so to speak. You have to consider the whole situation. Is your cat just chilling in a safe, quiet room they know and love? Or is the house suddenly full of new people and loud noises? All these little details are what give their actions meaning.
And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. On one side, you see a cat with its tail held high. To its owner, that's a happy, confident, "Hey, I'm glad to see you." But that exact same signal pointed at a strange cat that just wandered into the backyard. Suddenly, it's a warning. It's a "get out of here." It's the same action, but two completely different meanings, all because of the context.
All right, so with that golden rule locked in our minds, let's start breaking down the specifics, starting with their body posture. And just remember, every single one of these cues has to be seen through that filter of context.
And this really gets to the core of everything. You have to remember that cats evolved as both hunters and the hunted. So their body language is always broadcasting one of two fundamental feelings. Am I a confident predator right now, or am I a vulnerable little animal that needs to be careful? Understanding that duality is everything.
So when you see a cat totally stretched out, maybe showing a little bit of belly, that is a massive sign of trust. They're making themselves vulnerable on purpose. But on the flip side, a cat scrunched up into a tight little ball or crouched low to the ground is feeling threatened. And of course, that classic Halloween cat pose with the arched back and all the fur puffed out, that's a terrified cat doing its best to look big and scary.
Okay, and now for maybe the most misunderstood cat signal of all time. Your cat rolls over, shows you that super fluffy belly. It looks like a clear invitation, right? But I think we all know someone who has walked right into what we affectionately call the Venus cat trap. As behavior expert Marcy Koski puts it so perfectly, what the cat is really saying is, I trust you enough not to attack my soft, vulnerable underbelly. They're not necessarily saying, please rub my super sensitive stomach. For a lot of cats, touching that area is actually a violation of that trust they just offered you.
And this is where another piece of context comes in: your cat's individual personality. You might have a cat like Benny, who absolutely lives for belly rubs. It's his favorite thing. But you could also have a cat like Dylan, who will show you his belly as a sign of trust, but the second your hand goes near it, bam, the trap springs. You gotta know your cat.
Next up, let's talk about one of the clearest signals the cat gives off: its tail. Seriously, think of it like an emotional antenna, broadcasting their mood to the whole world. A tail held straight up is almost always a happy, confident greeting. If it's low or tucked between their legs, that's fear or anxiety. A big, puffed-out bottle brush tail means they're trying to look intimidating. You know that little quiver at the tip of their tail when they run to greet you? That's pure, happy excitement. But a sharp, flicking, twitchy tail, that often means they're getting annoyed or are super focused on something, like a bug or a toy.
All right, moving on up from the tail, let's look at the ears. They're not just for hearing, not at all. They are like little satellite dishes that are constantly swiveling around, zeroing in on sounds and broadcasting their emotional state.
When their ears are pointing forward in that sort of neutral, relaxed position, it can mean they're feeling confident or just curious about something. But when those ears go flat and stick out to the sides, what a lot of people call airplane ears, that's a universal sign to back off. It means that cat is scared, angry, and feeling extremely defensive.
Now for my absolute favorite one, the slow blink. If a cat is really comfortable with you, totally trust you, they might look right at you and just slowly close and open their eyes. In the cat world, this is basically a kiss.
It's their way of showing you that they feel so safe they're willing to let their guard down completely. And here's the best part. You can say it back. If your cat gives you a slow blink, try it yourself. Just meet their gaze softly, don't stare hard, and then slowly close your own eyes and slowly open them again. You are literally speaking their language of love and trust. It's an amazing feeling.
Okay, so we've covered all the silent signals. Now let's tune our ears to the things we can actually hear. Let's talk about what their purrs, hisses, and meows really mean.
The purr. It's the sound we all know and love. The sound of a content cat curled up in a warm lap. It is the absolute pinnacle of cat happiness, right?
Wow, this is where things get really, really interesting, because the answer isn't always a simple yes.
This is pretty mind-blowing, but vets report all the time that cats will purr when they're in a lot of pain or when they're very sick. It's believed that it's actually a self-soothing mechanism, kind of like how a person might hum to themselves when they're scared or trying to be brave. And this brings us right back to our golden rule. You have to look at the whole context. Is it a happy purr or is it a purr of distress?
On the other end of the vocal spectrum, cats give us very clear, escalating warnings when they feel threatened. Think of it like a ladder. It starts with a low growl, that's your first sign to please back off. If you ignore that, it climbs to a hiss. Then comes the yowl, and finally, the last resort is a shriek, right before they either fight or run. Respecting this ladder is the key to keeping everyone safe and happy.
So, there you have it. After all of this, you're now armed with the basics of the feline language. You're ready to graduate from just being a cat owner to becoming a true cat whisperer.
So the biggest takeaway here is this. You can't just look at the tail. You can't just listen for a purr. You have to be a detective. You have to look at the whole picture. What are the ears doing? What about the posture, the tail, the voice? What's going on around them? And what do you know about your cat's specific personality? When you finally put all of those pieces of the puzzle together, the message becomes crystal clear.
You've been given the translation guide, the dictionary. The secret code isn't so secret anymore. So the only real question left is, when you go home tonight and you really, truly listen for the first time, what new things is your cat finally going to be able to tell you?